This podcast is brought to you by Radio 786.
Welcome back to Community Pulse on Radio 786 100.4 FM. In studio with me is Sister Magboeba Davids for today's edition of Social Justice. Our topic of discussion for this morning is the Hajj explained through the lens of Farid Gabtini. All right. Okay, I was just making sure I'm getting that author's name correct. Now, he is the author of the book, The Sun Rises in the West, making the link between science and revelation. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Magboeba.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sister Qadira, and our respected technician this morning, Tariq.
Yes.
Yes. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm very well, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. The sunshine.
Yes. It seems like on a Wednesday we have this like lovely summer's days.
Alhamdulillah.
Summer days during winter.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
We're still enjoying the cold though. Now, Sister Magboeba, this book, The Sun Rises in the West by Farid Gabtini. Tell us a little bit about it before we get into the nitty-gritty of our topic of discussion this morning.
Yes, Sister Qadira. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursalin. Sayyidina wa nabiyyina wa maulana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Yes, Sister Qadira. Actually, I always say this on the radio that books tend to find me.
Okay.
And of course, the title again actually drew my attention. And I actually saw it in the library here at Radio 786.
Okay.
The author Farid Gabtini, he actually originates from Algeria, and also his mother tongue is actually French.
Okay.
And and he wrote this book, The Sun Rises in the West. And just briefly about the book, what it actually envisaged to do is actually to combine actually, or to bring together revelation and science.
Okay.
And the need for us to actually look at the Quran through that particular lens in this day and age. Right. And because he dedicated his life study to the Quran. And just briefly in his words,
yes,
I just want to share with the listeners where he actually said, the world will not evolve through cries and lamentations, with weapons and with tears. Instead, we can change it using conscience, knowledge and intelligence. It will not move forward with force and domination, but through the heart and the intellect. It cannot be built on utopias, but using a refounded nature, a refounded, mature and united humanity. Now, this for me actually says a lot, Sister Qadira.
Yeah. Because
we tend to get very emotional, when it comes to our, especially when we have moments like the Hajj. We are, because, and our community also is I think at that particular level where when you move them to tears, you know what I mean? That means if the tear does fall, Sister Carl, that means it has touched this, your heart. But Islam actually means much more than that.
Yeah.
For us to be able to bring about that change within ourselves. And because, he says it appeals to the intellect and the heart. Right? And we know that the Quran is written for humankind, and it appeals to the intellect of the human being. And Allah will not give us a book which we will not be able to understand. And Allah gives Allah's knowledge to His sincere students.
Definitely.
Yeah. So since the beginning of creation, Allah has shown us the importance of seeking knowledge. Right?
Yes.
And the verse that I'm going to share with the listeners this morning is that Allah has taught Adam the names of all things, right? And by mere fact, but that is Allah saying He made known to Adam the names of all things. That we can express, that we can identify certain things.
Yeah.
And we can express it also. We can express our emotions. Animals cannot do that.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? So He did not teach this to the Malaika. Because the Malaika is from a different type of creation. Now, in Islam, the knowledge of Allah is achieved, according to Brother Farid Gabtini, by means of revelation and science. Therefore, according to him, there is a relationship between revelation and science.
Okay.
So in his book, he actually brings to our attention that every harf, every letter in the Quran, every numeral is from Allah, and every letter in that Quran is sacred.
Yes.
Right? So what we also learn through his work is that the whole of the universe is actually mathematically constituted.
Okay.
Now we talk about science now, maths.
Yes.
Math is a science, right? So it is through the sciences that we can determine truth.
Okay.
But isn't also Allah's word revelation also not truth? So here we see in this book, he actually combines the two.
Yeah.
And the need for us to be able to understand the Quran in our time, Sister Qadira, to bring about that change, firstly within ourselves and of course to the broader community,
Yeah.
that we need to look at the Quran through this particular lens, right? Because if you look at maths as a science, Sister Qadira,
Yes.
the simple term I'm going to use it is 1 + 1 is
2.
2.
Yeah.
It can never ever be 3 or 5. Also, the intellect will also not accept that. If I tell you 1 and 1 is 5, will you accept that?
No.
Because it's an axiomatic truth. It will never ever change.
Yeah.
You see? So now that we're finding ourselves in the month of Hajj,
Yeah.
Sister Qadira, I felt it being appropriate to speak about the concept of Hajj and looking through the lens of this amazing scholar.
Yes,
Right?
definitely.
So where he speaks about Allah, in the name of Allah, the Rahman, the originator. Isn't Allah not the originator?
Definitely.
Right? The Ar-Rahim, the arranger. Allah is the one that arranges everything. So it is Allah, the originator, where everything originates from, that arranges everything.
Yeah.
So if we look at the number 9, Sister Qadira, that the Basmala actually contains 9 citations.
Okay.
And him being like really a scientist, also saying that the number 9 always brings something new.
Okay.
Right? So we start off something in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, the originator that arranges everything. So we start off something new with that in the name of Allah. And if you look at the concept of Rahim, the arrangement, within the womb, 9 months. Again, the letter, the number 9. The 9 months within the womb where beings are being formed and molded and arranged. And again, the month of Ramadan is also the spring of the Quran, also bringing something new in the on the Islamic calendar. And also during the month of Ramadan, we cultivate that taqwa, which is a preparation for the Hajj, right?
Yeah.
And the Hajj also, Arafah is the 9th day of the Hijjah, right? So for me, this was so amazing. And coming to the Hajj, the concept of Hajj, we understand the Hajj meaning in English, meaning the pilgrimage.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
And it is mentioned in the Surah Hajj, Surah 22. So, but according to him, Sister Qadira, he is a linguist as well.
Yes.
Where he says the Hajj, the first meaning is argumentation.
Okay.
Yeah. Meaning a sequence of arguments tending to a given conclusion.
All right.
Also, he says that not excluding the meaning pilgrimage, it means that we need to look at these two particular concepts and how it actually brings about really how these two concepts are actually inseparable.
Okay.
Where we say Hajj is a pilgrimage, is actually a place where we go to, hence a pilgrimage, but also meaning that that it's also a sequence of arguments that leads to a particular conclusion.
Okay.
Right? So see how Allah, the arranger, did arrange the Hajj. Right?
Yeah.
Who arranged the Hajj? It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So which prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is central to the Hajj?
Nabi Ebrahim.
Nabi Ebrahim alayhi salam. Now in the Quran, Sister Qadira, the argumentation is closely linked to Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam.
Okay, that's interesting. It's a new way of
it's
looking
a new
at
way
it.
of looking at it, but it is also for me so amazing, and I felt I actually had to share this with the listeners because here we look at the word hajja,
Okay, the root word.
The root word Hajja, the one who argued.
Okay.
Now, Nabi Ibrahim did not have this argument with his father? Did he not have this argument with his community?
Yes, before.
Yes.
Yes, in his early days as a youth.
Absolutely. So here we see in Surah of the Cattle, the Surah An'am, where Allah Ta'ala speaks to us, and Allah speaks about the argument of Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam, where Allah says that, and remember when Abraham said to his father Azar, do you take idols as your gods? I see that you and your people have clearly gone astray. Yeah, he went into a debate, an argument with his father. And in this way, we showed Abraham our kingdom of the heavens and the earth, so that he might have certainty of faith. Right? So when night descended on him, he saw a star, and he said, this is my Lord. And when it set, he said, I do not love things that set. And when he saw the moon rise and spread its light, he said, this is my Lord. Now this was his own debate with himself. But when it set, he said, if my Lord does not guide me, I will be one of the misguided people. Then he saw the sun shining, and he said, this is my Lord, and this is the greatest of all. Then when it set, he said, my people, I disown all that you worship besides Allah. I have set my face with single-minded devotion towards him who has created the heavens and the earth, and I am not one of the polytheists. And his people argued with him.
Yes.
Right? He said, are you arguing with me about God? While he has guided me, I have no fear of any partner you ascribe to him, unless my Lord should wish otherwise. So my Lord encompasses all things in his knowledge. So will you not pay heed? Yes, look at the conversations, Sister Qadira, and the argument. So Allah Ta'ala says, not Allah, but what we should actually understand when we actually go on Hajj, we should actually be very clear of this particular argument.
Yes.
Because now we're going on this pilgrimage. We're going to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here in the Quran it said they will come to you on foot and from any deep ravine. To what are we going to? To the house of Allah. Right? But now the house of Allah, the Kaaba, is not limited to a cube made of stone. It's the mental state in relation to faith. Scientifically argued, clear of all superstitions. Now that for me is like so profound, Sister Qadira. For the Hujjaaj that leave from their place of birth to go on this particular pilgrimage, the Hajj, their mindset should actually be very, very, clear of all superstitions.
It's an interesting take on it, and I think when we spoke last night, I mentioned to you that in doing this, I'm young. I'm a very young person, and so obviously that I do understand that once you achieve a certain level of knowledge, you reach a certain age, performing your Hajj is at the forefront of your mind. But these kinds of realizations need to happen along the way. These kinds of realizations that you need to sort of make in your own journey through knowledge, as you seek knowledge, as you seek to become, to better yourself in a sense. And the explanation that you've just given speaks to a particular caliber of person.
Absolutely, Sister
That
Qadira.
should then be undertaking the Hajj, that it isn't just for anybody at any stage of their life. It is for a particular person that has struggled and faced adversity and has self-reflected through that adversity and has educated themselves and who are now firm in their beliefs. It is for them to undertake this journey and to make that final commitment, to present themselves in front of the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala and to say that here I am.
Absolutely.
I've struggled to get here. I've worked through every adversity. I've overcome every test that you've put in my way, and I am the best version of myself that I am presenting before you today.
Absolutely. Because it makes a lot of sense when it comes to man istata'a ilay sabila.
Yes.
It's not only your money, Sister Qadira. Are you fit for this journey?
And not just physically, are you mentally, spiritually, emotionally fit to undertake this journey?
Absolutely. Do you really have the skills of Nabi Ebrahim? Are you fit for this particular argument?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not just about getting on a plane and fulfilling the rights and those kinds of things. The spirituality behind that needs to be, you need to have it before you even make your intention to go on Hajj.
Absolutely. Now, Nabi Ebrahim alayhi salam is the one who got rid of all forms of superstition through knowledge and argument.
Yeah, definitely.
You, Sister Qadira, now we as the Hujjaaj that actually go, that should be uppermost in our minds.
Yeah.
That should be in our heart, and he reached faith and the peace of Allah through the same means as well.
Yes.
When he came to his master, Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam, he came to his master with a peaceful heart, with a contented heart, knowing that, that I am free from all other dogmas and misbeliefs and disbeliefs and superstitions and doubt. So you as a Hujjaj should actually be a very clear, focused person, really going to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and perform the Hajj. So therefore again, Sister Qadira, we should follow his example of Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam, that of an intellectual, rational and scientific process whose finality, destination, arrival is to get knowledge of the true and the truth, namely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And on the day of Arafah, the proof is that the climax is the climax of this pilgrimage, of the Hajj, of the day of Arafah, the day of knowing.
This morning in studio with me is Sister Magboeba Davids, and in today's edition of Social Justice, we are discussing the Hajj explained through the lens of Farid Gabatini. He is the author of the book The Sun Rises in the West, making the link between science and revelation. Sister Magboeba, just before we went for the break, we sort of got into Farid Gabatini's rationalization of what the Hajj means, and we established that Hajj coming from the root word Hajja, meaning that the Hujjaj should then be a decisive argument. We also established that when the Hujjaj undertake this journey, they should then have undergone certain arguments and should be in a space where they can defend their position and defend the conviction or the convictions against any outside forces.
Yeah. Sister Qadira, for me, when the Hujjaj actually enters the Kaaba or the Haram Sharif, and he sees, and we enter that with the Labayk, isn't it? When we make the talbiyah. Yes. Oh Allah, here am I, Labayk, Allahumma Labayk. Yeah, we have taken off all our clothing and our identity, and we stripped ourselves from, because our clothing actually also makes who we are. Yeah, it says who we are in this world. Yeah. So we strip from that particular, from all these worldly things, and we are donned in this white pure cloth. Yeah, and we approach the Kaaba with really ourselves. Yes, but more so for the Hujjaj to say, with understanding, oh Allah, here am I as your servant. But also testifying in that what we're saying, and repeatedly so. Yeah, we say that. We say that, oh Allah, here am I as your, in total submission. So in the mind of the Hujjaj, there should not be any other argument, Sister Qadira. Because further Allah says in the Quran, Allah says, there no trivia, no perversion, and no quarreling in the pilgrimage, the argumentation. Yeah, Allah says, words quarreling is actually opposite to argumentation.
Because one achieves an outcome and the others just chaos, just causes chaos.
That creates. So Allah tells us, let there not be any quarreling in the pilgrimage. So that means every Hujjaaj should actually be really focused and know why he or she is there.
Yeah.
You know, that they have made that particular submission, that they are the Hajjah, that they are the proof, that they are the argument. Right? So when I do come home, I carry that particular title of our Hajj. Isn't it?
Yeah.
I am the argument. I need to tell the world, right, that there is no power and no creator other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Definitely.
Right? So again, just going back to the Arabic term, Sister Qadira, in this particular verse where Allah says to Nabi Ebrahim, with the argument between him and his father and his people. Here it says, have you not seen the one who argued, the Hajjah, with Abraham about his master?
Yeah.
And his community argued, Hajjahu, against him, and he said, do you argue against me? Atuhajjuni, about God, and he has already guided me. Look at his firm belief, right? And that is our argument. A hujjatuna. We gave it to Abraham for his community.
Yeah.
Now Allah we know that Nabi Ebrahim is the father of Muslims, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mandated him to call people to the Hajj.
Yeah, definitely.